Hi, my name is Alexandre Alaphilippe. I'm Executive Director of the EU Disinfolab. The EU Disinfolab is a Brussels-based NGO working as a center of resource for people working on disinformation, whether they're journalists, fact-checker, academics, or with other backgrounds. So 2 things. First, I've been asked to be short, so I will try to keep it for a good reason, because then you have an excellent panel and we need to save time for questions. The second is because we all know there is a Real Madrid game tonight and I don't want to withhold you too much here. So, small presentation about bots, trolls and shaping the political discourse. Here, the idea is to understand what kinds of techniques are used and how artificial intelligence can be used in a daily basis just to help or to not help information to spread or disinformation to spread. And I wanted to talk to you about Stephen. Stephen is a researcher at the EU Disinfolab, and he made this very good comment yesterday. He said to me, you know, Alex, what we can do now with artificial intelligence is very simple. We can create people that don't exist. And in fact, Stephen does not exist. So Stephen is a part of a project which is called thispersondoesnotexist.com. And thanks to artificial intelligence, by learning on how many faces with real pictures, you have now the capacity to produce fake images, fake faces of people in an instantaneous way. On this website, if you click refresh every second, you have a new face going in. And you can see that Stephen has a little bit of problems around just under the eye here, is that because the machine doesn't see this for the moment because this project is new. But where we will be in 5 years, 10 years, or even in 6 months. So the question is, if I'm refreshing this website, let's say 200 times, takes me 200 seconds, I can create 200 fake Twitter profiles. And by doing this, I have the capacity to influence very much how conversation works. So the question we have to ask ourselves right now is, how much of the world around us is fake? You may have read this story on a few weeks ago about 60% of the web traffic is fake. Why? Because you have so much of the scripts that are interrogating different algorithms together to understand what's going on. If you look about online advertising and the bidding section of online advertising, every time you go on a website, you have 10 requests that goes for every 10 ad servers that can interrogate, like, what is your profile, how do you behave, and they can pay for displaying something to you. That takes milliseconds to do. And that's a huge part of the traffic, and every part of this traffic is linked to each other. If you are sponsoring a very good story on Twitter with a YouTube link, it has high chances that the YouTube video would be better ranked by YouTube because it sees that they gained a lot of attraction. So the problem is because we had fake profile before, but now we also have fake amplification. The thing is, the dummies that were used to have, which were very simple, that were basically accounts that were very false and doing always the same time, now they are no more used by sophisticated disinformation campaigns. Why? Because it's very easy. If you have a robot that is, every time you have hashtag disinfoweek tweeting, it's very easy to see that if you're using a hashtag in a different context, he will retweet it. But now, because we have so much knowledge about what is the behavior of someone, we have the capacity to create scripts that can imitate how people behave. So they can pass maybe on one story, maybe on 2 stories, maybe they can tweet at different times of the day, of the night. So it's very difficult for you to know what's going on. And if you look at things, this was before. This was very easy. This is a study we conducted last year. You have accounts that are basically tweeting all day long. So these people, I'm very concerned about them because they don't sleep. Never. This is kind of easy to catch. Also, this was a technique that was very well used. So you are a French account and you are followed by accounts from all over the world, including people learning how to box in Thailand and people learning how to behave, how to build houses in South Africa. It's very good, but if you speak only French, why do you have 18,000 Twitter followers doing this? But this was the old way. With the deepfake technology, it's very easy to build a story also on other things that are real. The number of personal data that are leaked online today through hacking or things like this make it very easy to create someone who has absolutely no history online. So if I can find someone who's known Pablo Rodriguez living in that city of Madrid and having no history on the internet, I can invent him and I can give him a personality. And if I can manage 10, 20, or 100 of these sock puppets, I have the capacity to make people believe this is going on. This is a discussion online. And it's very easy to, it used to be very easy to catch, because at some point, if you look at how the networks are composed, you see that these networks are focalized on only one person. And all of these persons have followers that retweet only once. And you can see that you have one central person which is activating sock puppets account. But this is made possible mainly because we have a new paradigm. And the new paradigm is that we are now living in the economy of attention. What does it mean? It means that today, the main platforms are designed for you to stay on this. Why? Because the more you stay, the more they learn about you. And you might think, yeah, I stay, but I don't click. Yeah, they love when you click, but they also know when you don't click. They also know how fast you scroll, how much time you spend on one publication, how much time you don't spend on one publication. And they have all of this information, and they can link this with all the other information they have inside their system or sometimes outside their system. And the whole thing is meant for you to stay, because the longer you stay, the more money they make out of your profile, because they can sell something which is just designed for you. And if you add this to the capacity to our brains to not think when we are in front of something which makes us furious, we arrive to a very complex and problematic situation. Because everything is driven by emotion. So this is a very provocative picture, I know. Everything is driven by emotion. When you see the picture on the left, what do you see? You see policemen charging people having a Catalonian flag. When you see this, whatever your side is on this very complex issue, you can be furious, you can be sad, you can be angry, but the thing is, you have an emotion. And what you want to do, the first thing is to react. You want to say, no, this is not true, or yes, this is outrageous, etc. The thing is, if you pass this image to a tool to check the image, you see the flag was not here in the picture. So we don't know if these people were demonstrating at this event or not. What we know is that you have people that were charged with policemen. And this is a real issue, because once you say this, once you understand this, once you take the 30 seconds to check this, you have a very different reaction about this, because you want to ask, okay, so where was it? Why do I see this? What's the point? How do I know about this issue? Who should I check with about this? And emotions are, disinformation is using emotion because it's easy to hijack your rational brain. And that's how we are made, because when we were in the jungle, in the caves, and we had to get away from a lion trying to eat us, we didn't think about, yeah, I need to run like this direction for approximately 200 meters and climb on a tree, then on the tree. No, you just run, because that's how you survive. And our brain still works like this. And this information uses emotion and gets into a context. So on the right, you will see a post that has been published recently on the Facebook pages around the Gilets jaunes movement in France. Again, whatever you think about the Gilets jaunes movement, I don't care. And the thing is, this picture was, this collection of pictures was published to say, look at how police is violenting demonstrators against Gilets jaunes. This is an outburst, this is a shame, etc. But if you look at the pictures, the one with Arc de Triomphe and Champs-Élysées is real, from the real day. The three other one you can see on the bottom corner on the right, and the man like this, were pictures taken in France, but 2 years ago from other demonstrations. And the last one, the man which is in a bloody situation, let's say, this man is from Spain. This picture is from the violence in Catalonia. And this has been used to justify everything. And when you see this, and you understand that in different contexts, and that's why on the edge of the European election, this is very important. The things that are happening in the world are not staying in the country. Information is circulating and false information is circulating. I'm pretty sure in 2 years or in 3 months, we will see the same pictures for a demonstration in Poland or in Italy or something else. Because this is new content for people that have not been exposed to this. And they need to understand what's going on. And this is taking into the context, we talked a little bit about it, about polarized crowds. We are in a situation because also of our behavior, because we tend to follow and to be friends with people we choose. The only people we don't choose are our family, because we don't choose our family, but we choose our friends. These people are the ones you are getting in touch with on a daily basis. And they have a particular way of seeing the world. And I think if you are a particular horse lover, you can find people that have the same passion than you on the other side of the Atlantic. That's really cool. But at some point, if you are only seeing the same content, for you it seems to be true because it has been repeated and repeated again. And whatever it's true or not, you will have, and we will have as human beings, the trend to follow what the majority looks like to us. And this is why right now we have a huge problem in our societies, because the less we trust about institutions, about NGOs, about academics, about journalists, about the public sector, about companies, the more we are getting into what our friends, what our people around us know. And that'd be very difficult because this can be manipulated very easily. Because we can know exactly what you want to see and we can provide you exactly what you want to see. And basically, we went out from a system in our democracy where to discuss about politics, first you went into a bar, you knew the people in the bar, you know, you had this guy which is a leftist, this was his rightist, and you could have a discussion. Then we ended up at having discussion on the internet. I think I'd call it Internet 1.0, 10 years ago. We could have still discussion on the internet. It was complicated, it took time, and sometimes you didn't go to sleep because you have to prove someone is wrong. But at least you had debate. Now it's basically shouting at each other. You're wrong, you're right, you're false, you're fake news, no, you're fake news, no, you're fake news. And this is not going anywhere. Because the more polarized we are, the less discussion, the less compromise we can make. And democracy is about making compromise and discussion and having fair debates. So AI can follow amplification. There are many things that AI can do. AI can learn about how information spreads, about how people are polarized. AI can help to understand how the content is repeated, how people are behaving the same way, and it doesn't look authentic. So AI is a great tool. And the thing is, so the slide is not the right, the slide is called "Don't Blame the Internet." Don't blame the internet, because it's not about the technology that we have a problem with. It's about how it's used. If you look at printing, Gutenberg invented the printer when we imprinted the Bible. 2 centuries later, we printed the encyclopedia. 2 centuries later, we printed Mein Kampf. The problem is not to burn all the books. The problem is to understand why do we have these kind of things? Why do we have this kind of problem with the technology that we're using? And we are entering in an era where we have new paradigms. Basically, we had the paradigm of the representative democracy. It was very easy. We had rational arguments, so we could discuss about political visions. We had representation, so we elected people, or we had academics we could trust that could lead up the debate. We had a time for deliberation. So basically, a law is not about having it passed next week, but in 2 months, just to have the time to have checks and balances. And we have consensus. Right now, this is still how our political system works in Western liberal democracies. If we look at how internet works, it doesn't work like this at all. Internet works on emotion. It works on no representation, every voice is equal, on instantaneity, and on polarization. And I'm not sure we will go back to what we had, and I'm not sure we should go to what we have. So this means we need to find a way to find a new model between these, to use technology, to use internet, and to reform what was used to be our system of governance. And for this, I think I also see disinformation as a very interesting moment where we can discuss about this, because this is about what we want to do with democracy. And we have to put ethical limits to this. We need to protect people. And when we say protect people, I mean regular user of the internet. We need to protect whistleblowers, journalists and sources, freedom defenders. We need to protect anonymity. This is one of my favorite memes. The dog says on the internet, nobody knows you're a dog, which is good. The thing is, you should at least know how these persons are and how the conversation is influenced, and if the influence is fair or not, because we need to have fair debates. I don't care what side you are, but use arguments. The more you lie, the more you invent things, the less powerful your argument is. We need to go back to having strong political discussions with arguments based on rationality and not on emotion, because election is not about the 5 next tweets or the 5 next minutes, is about the 5 next years. So we need to have individually a discussion with ourselves, with the argument we're using to justify our political position, whatever they are. And we do not let the machine decide. The machines are a tool to help us, and we need to be sure that we have a human control of what machines say, like we have a civil control of what government says, like we have checks and balances. We cannot rely only on one solution, one silver bullet, because it doesn't exist. Because if it would exist, we would already use it. So this is a complex challenge and a complex time, and you'll have a great panel to talk about this now. Thank you.